Hi, I wanted to make this video because this happens whenever a new season of Fish Tank is airing. People start talking to me about season 1, and there's a couple of misconceptions about it. So first of all, people say that I was coached by production or something. Really what happened is that everyone was hating on me, and I thought it was it's for no reason, right? People were hating on me the first couple weeks for no reason when I was always nice to everyone, and they all just turned against me. So what I thought was, okay, I'm gonna become the bitch that you think I am. You want me to be a bitch, I'll be a bitch. And that's why I started being the villain or whatever. The other thing is, I don't know where it came from that they coached me. So the speech that Sam gave at the end, he told me before, he was like, I'm gonna give... Okay, as I was saying, Sam told me before it ended, he was like, I'm gonna give a speech at the end to mitigate the hate against you and try and get the audience to hate you less. And the way he would do this is by saying production was responsible for a lot of the things she did, blah, 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 and co-signed everything she did. But also because he did say he was grateful to me for making the show entertaining. So when people say oh, all the bits she did were scripted, it was made by production. That's a large exaggeration because only, I would say, 2 of the bits I did were scripted. Which one was the Bible one, that was from them, and then the other one was the thing with Frank Castle, but that was by Frank Castle, not by... I was very happy that he took the blame off of me for a lot of things. It took the heat off of me. But then people started saying that I was scripted and coached in every single thing I did, which is just not true. I would just sometimes run down and ask for their permission to do something. I think I did that twice, but most of the time I would just do things on my own. And, I feel I don't get enough credit for being an evil bitch. No, I'm just kidding. I just see people saying that, and I think some people actually believe that. So... I wanted to let you know what really went down. Also, I never specifically tried to be evil, and they never told me they're from the start, when I was just being normal and regular. They were never be the villain. I just decided on my own. I was this show needs a villain. Everyone hates me. Fuck it. There's no winning back everyone's favor, so I might as well do what they think of me, what they expect, whatever. Because at that point, everyone in the house hated me, the audience hated me, and production was ragging on me, doing all the shark attacks, the scream at Letty, fish, blah, 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 all those things. I was I'm hated by literally everyone, so I might as well do things that are hateable because fuck this, history, I'll be on the right side of history. Okay, the other thing, and the reason I comment on this is because it's such a widespread belief within the fandom that even Jimmy on Blood Games brought it up to me and was oh, you threatened to leave 1,000,000 times and you cried in the basement. When I went to the basement, which everyone, every single person would go to the basement, it was for confessionals. Everyone would go to the basement for confessionals. My confessionals were longer than the other people's confessionals. The reason for that being that I would literally write down things I wanted to say in confessional. I would write down quips I wanted to say, which is so lame, but I would just I would be prepared. I would have stacks of paper for confessionals. I would also write down all the events that happens every single day so I could say my opinion on them, because they were kind of disorganized. So they were kind of disorganized. They wouldn't know, they would forget the events that happened every day. So I would literally just write all of them down and then say okay, this is my opinion on this event, this event, this event, this event. And I would give very long responses, so because I wanted them to get like as much out of it as possible. I didn't just want to be like okay, or like give a short response on something. Yeah, and then people saying that I ran down to the basement to cry. Like, I was going down to do interviews, or I was going down if they called me down. One time I did go down to cry, and that was on a day when I got toilet water dumped on me a bunch of times, but I didn't say I was gonna leave. I was like, I'm just here to cry and be away from everyone for like 10 minutes. Okay, the last thing I want to clear up, which is just like, because I see people like saying this stuff all the time on like, I don't know, like fucking Twitter and stuff, and like try to downplay me by saying I try to leave all the time, which is like whatever. But I just wanted to clear it up, I guess. I can think of a couple times that I did want to leave. One of them being when Sam eliminated me from the immunity challenge, where everyone's like walking, holding a chair. I thought it was unfair. Like at that moment, I knew that like my thoughts were, this is going to be rigged. They're never going to let me win. They just want to bring me to the final, but they're never going to let me win. Those were my thoughts at that moment. And I knew that I wasn't going to win at that moment. And I said that to like the TTS and the audience. And I said like, what's the point of me even being here? So it's like, what's the point of me even being here if the challenges are so, like the rules and the challenges are so arbitrary? It's basically just like the host swims. At that point, I did not run down to the basement. Production did not comfort me, but I was saying I was thinking about leaving. And the TTS convinced me to stay because I was like, fuck, like I'm going to disappoint everyone who's like rooting for me. If I leave right now, I'm going to look like, I don't know, like a bitch or something. So I was like, fuck it, like I'll stick it out till the end. The other time I did say to production after Damiel freaked out on me, I said, this is the first time I'm thinking about leaving. The reason I said that wasn't because I was going to leave, but it was because I was communicating my boundaries to them, like saying like, if some shit like this happens again where I really feel like I'm in danger, then it's not okay. I would do like pretty well at self-regulating. Something true is that I do cry all the time, but that's what helps me self-regulate. So I wouldn't need like outside help being like, no, like stop, like stay or don't cry or whatever, because I could just like be alone, cry, and then be okay after. And I don't, that was just like a strategy I used to stay sane, I guess. Oh, and then I saw a Twitter post that was like saying that on the day that like Lance and Frank were there, I was like threatening to leave. But what was really happening, like I was packing my suitcase that day, but what was happening is that day I was like really confused, and they told us that the show was ending and Ty won $50K, and like I literally believed it, and I was like sad, and I was like, oh my god, the show is ending. So that's why I was packing that day. I was like crying, and I was like, I can't believe it's over. How is everyone still having fun? Like, so that's, as soon as I learned the show wasn't really ending, I was like, oh, like, okay. Because like Lance kind of like clued me in. I think he thought I knew, but I was just like extra retarded and like gullible that day. But as far as the basement goes, I did not go to the basement and threaten to leave. Anything that you saw me saying about leaving, it was always on camera. I would not run down to the basement. I would be honest when I was thinking about it, but I never like straight up was like, I want to leave. I want to go now. Because when I got in the competition, I was very determined, like, to make it to the end. Because I wanted to fucking prove everyone wrong. Like, all the TTSs and the other people in the house. Like, I couldn't stand the way that people underestimated me. But yeah, the only reason I'm bringing this up, like I said before, is because this gets, every time a season is on, people start like saying shit like this to me. And I think some people like do have a reason to believe this, or it just like is in their memory for some reason, or that's actually what they thought when they were watching the season. So I wanted to actually clear it up. Maybe I should have done it earlier, but whatever. Also, I wanted to stream tonight, but I fell asleep. So I don't know, do you guys think, like, if anyone actually watched this whole thing, do you think I could still stream tonight? Like, I don't know, I was supposed to do a stream with a friend too. Like, why do I have to be so sleepy? To be honest, I think the reason that people say that like I went to the basement a lot and like cried in the basement is because they want to imagine like me crying and freaking out and like threatening lawsuits or whatever and all this shit I never did. Because I never like, I wouldn't do anything bad on camera that they wanted me to do, that like they wanted to see. So they're like, oh, she must have been doing that in the basement because they hate me so bad. They want to like imagine me doing that, which is like crazy to me. Like, keep thinking about me.